So I'm going to try and cover in about 40 minutes or so how the community has grown, current milestones and accomplishments. We're going to talk a little bit about the diversity of our community. We'll walk through some of the Hackfests, workshops, and events that we've participated in over the last year or so. We're going to introduce you to some of the new symposiums that we've had and the ones that we're going to have in the future. We're going to talk about how the community outreach has been going and the growth in awareness, especially around our social media activity. And lastly, I think, as you know, we're absolutely welcoming new participants to join us, so we're going to share with you how you can do that. So just before we get started, from a marketing perspective, there's a couple challenges with marketing around an open source community. So one of the dilemmas or challenges is really around driving awareness, and the other one's around driving understanding. So in terms of awareness, for most of us, we're really busy in our day jobs, inundated with information, working in our own silos. And in an open source community, you not only have to do the work in your spare time, but you need to work across these silos, organizations, multinational corporations, university research communities, and across vast geographies. So that's very, very challenging. And as the saying goes, it's really hard to see the forest through the trees. So in marketing for OSM, in terms of an open source community, our aim is actually to try to provide awareness, awareness of the forest, not just the trees. So the other challenge that we are trying to address in terms of OSM Marcom is making sure that the ecosystem and our overall partners actually have a deep understanding of what's going on inside of the organization. So the work being contributed by OSM is absolutely complex and cutting edge. And it's difficult to share just the deep understanding required to grasp the full potential of what is being achieved one line of code at a time. So OSM progress is way more than just the hyperbole of it being transformative, as there's way more under the surface that actually holds the power and the capability to transform our industry. So how do we actually measure awareness and understanding? Well, one of the easiest ways is to look at actually the growth of our community. So in our earlier presentations, we talked about the fact that in 2016, we started out with 23 members, and in just 3 very, very short years, we've been able to grow to 120 participants and members. So we've grown at a very, very steady pace over the last several quarters, with about 10 to 15 partners or members joining each quarter. And a significant percentage of those participants are very, very active in development and in marketing. So I know you don't want to just take it from me, so I looked and I found out that we were recently evaluated by OpenHub, and they actually called out Open Source Mano for having a very large and active development team and a well-established code base. So we are being viewed not only that way from, looking internally, but also from the outside. Our community is being evaluated and being given very strong marks for the activity and the code development at hand. So I think you've seen this slide now 3 times today, but these logo walls are fantastic. At Intel, we use them all the time. I think a picture actually is better than 1,000 words. We have a very broad and diverse community, one that is full of comm service providers and VNF solution providers and a variety of other participants that span the globe. And we're actually actively interested in recruiting more partners to our community. And in terms of the recent timeline, I think Vanessa had a chart that actually showed the full, complete timeline. what is really amazing is that we are a very active community and a very efficient community. So a tremendous amount of work is being done in a very, very short period of time. With every single one of our code releases, we actually release a white paper that comprehends the scope and the nature and the technical details of what has been delivered. And if you look at just the recent timeline, Release 3 that delivered a host of new features was launched in November of 2017. Then only 6 months later, we had Release 4, which significantly improved the user experiences, and that launched in May of 2018. And then Release 5, which is our most recent release, it had a super strong focus on 5G capabilities like network slicing, which we've talked about, actually launched in December of 2019, or 2018, excuse me. So as mentioned, our most recent release, Release 5, was announced on December 5th, 2018. So we announced it through the press release, and then we also delivered the white paper that comprehended not only the technical details, but also the use cases associated with the technology. And then we publicized the actual release in our newsletter, which actually reaches hundreds of subscribers globally. So one of the things that we've really focused on in the most recent most currently is that we really are trying to drive a lot of awareness through using social media. So Nicolette Oki, who's actually here in the room, she was on my staff, and she has joined our team to actually help do a lot of the social media support. And we really believe that that is one of the best ways to drive awareness and understanding into their ecosystem. And in addition to just the promotion that I talked about for Release 5, we actually use social media very well. We celebrated one of our largest community contributors by giving an award to Anderson Bravalhari and as the Outstanding Technical Contributor Award, and that was as a result of the work that he did for Release 5. And in addition to promoting the release itself and talking about the work that constructs the release, we also tried to recognize a lot of people that are in the community that have participated in the development of that release. And as a result, we had a very significant flurry of Twitter activity. And you can see some of that here on the board. So another way to measure the health of a community is by looking at its diversity. And you've seen different variations of this slide also in the previous presentations. And I think that actually speaks to the fact that we're really proud of the community that we're creating. So it's a very robust ecosystem, and I think that Francisco Javier talked about the fact that this is very similar to the marketplace approach, but what we really want to do is to make sure that people can access the work that is actually being contributed in real commercial deployments. And so by cataloging them and making them available on our wiki site, we really are encouraging our ecosystem and beyond our ecosystem to tap into this wealth of capability that's commercially deployable. We also are trying to encourage our partners that are on the ecosystem to do a lot of networking and matchmaking. And so for some of you here who are either in the ecosystem or hopefully will be in the ecosystem, we would like to try to tie you all together so that we can advance your technologies in support of more accelerated deployments. And if you take a deeper dive into each one of these, you see that we have leadership and marquee participants in each of these areas. And we encourage any of you who might be in our overall members and participants community, if you haven't already contributed a blurb on your technology, that you would do so. We're trying to make it very easy to provide you a place to showcase your capabilities and to possibly find future customers and business. So once again, we talked a little bit about Mobile World Congress. I think maybe Vanessa pointed it out that in 2016 we actually launched OSM at Mobile World Congress, and Intel actually hosted a demo that showcased enhanced platform awareness. It's one of our technologies that we were involved with early on in the project. And while that was great, it was one demo that was associated with Mobile World Congress. So fast forward 3 years later, we actually had 6 major demos at Mobile World Congress that we're aware of. One of the things we believe that is actually really great about OSM is that there are a lot of people using it and maybe not a lot of people talking about it yet. So we're hoping to continue to collect information on exactly where where this work is actually showing up in commercial deployments and in demonstrations. But 2 of the most prominent demos that were at Mobile World Congress are the 2 that I've highlighted here. So one of them was the 5G network slicing orchestration with OSM that was sponsored by Telefonica, Telenor, and Intel. And the other one was the 5G and Edge innovation for healthcare with OSM that was sponsored by VMware, Dell, and Telenor. So both of these were at Mobile World Congress, and there was a significant focus around these. And in terms of the technology, in the case of the Telenor and Telefonica demo, they demonstrated jointly that end-to-end orchestration of 5G network slices using open source Nano, and how the slices with the different characteristics can be created on demand across different types of network functions. And then in the healthcare demo that VMware, Dell, and Telenor actually were involved with, they showed how Etsy open source helps secure reliable video services for urgent medical assistance with 5G and MEC technologies. So both of these were very innovative, brought a lot of focus to the technologies at hand and also to OSM. And we were thrilled to have all these partners demonstrating the capabilities with OSM. And then we also had, and captured in a lot of social media traffic, these additional 4 demos that were at Mobile World Congress. So you can see that each one of these social media Twitter captures actually helps promote not only the demo itself, but also the contributions of all the partners in the community. And so I was just going to mention that the 4 demos that we actually had in the Mobile World Congress that were part of the 5G area was deploying a containerized NS3 Lena-based LTE mobile network service through the 5G Transformer platform. And in addition to 5G Transformer, which is one of the projects that we talked about using OSM, we also had involvement from CTTC. And then another one of the 5G projects that I was actually showcasing there was the 5G City neutral hosting solution with OSM. And there were additional partners like i2CAT, Nextworks, UBWare that were also involved with that project. So once you can see, you can get kind of a feeling for the fact that these 5G projects are actually quite collaborative in nature and bringing in lots of other ecosystem partners. The last 2 that I wanted to mention were the ultra-high definition media distribution over virtual CDN with OSM, driven by 5G media and partners like Nextworks, Engineering Spa, Singular Logic, InterInnov, and I mentioned 5G media. And then the last one was the network slicing and automation with OSM and Ansible. And Atos, Red Hat, and F5 were also partners in that demonstration. So there were 4 really fantastic demos that were part of the 5G promotion, as well as the other 2 major demonstrations at Mobile World Congress. So for those of you who might want to get more information, we have the ability to provide that for you in terms of the abstracts and additional data on the scope of those projects. So in addition to Mobile World Congress, OSM community has been really active. So they were, many of my colleagues and peers were at the OSM, or OSM was at the Zero Touch Automation Workshop in Madrid in March. And once again, it was an all-star lineup like you have today. There was a very strong focus on the network slicing capabilities that we've also discussed today. And then there was a session led by Gianpietro Lavato, who is actually now a lead or task force chair for our newly initiated VNF onboarding task force. And so I believe that he was providing an introduction to the task force, and he and I will be working very closely to finalize the agenda for our VNF day that I'll mention in just a minute. But we are very excited about the new task force being formed, as we believe that VNF onboarding is and continues to be a challenge for the industry, and we believe that OSM can actually help tackle that problem. Okay, so in terms of Hackfests, I know there's been quite a mention on the Hackfest. So if you really want to get your hands on the open source nanotechnology, coming to one of our Hackfests is absolutely the best way to do it. We actually run them quarterly, and we try to move them from one geography to another so we can make it much more accessible for any of your colleagues or your immediate team. So we'd encourage you to join us if you haven't already done so. Usually at the Hackfest, there's 30 to 40 people, roughly that many seats are available, and we think there might still be space available for the one at Santa Clara, which is going to be hosted on our campus. The instructors are many times our technical leadership, so we have fabulous instructors, and we talked a little bit about the Hive that the folks connect to and get their hands-on experience with. So we can give you more information too about that if you can't actually join the Hackfest. I think Vanessa alluded to helping you get access so that you can actually start and actively participating in OSM. So what you see on the left-hand side was the fourth OSM Hackfest that was hosted by VMware here in the Bay Area, and then it bounced back to Barcelona, sunny Barcelona, and it was held on the CTC campus. And then our next Hackfest is coming up very soon in Santa Clara. So with respect to the Hackfests, they're a week-long activity and very hands-on. And what Vanessa, she's not here right now, but she had a fabulous idea. She thought that it might make sense for us to actually have a symposium in the context of one of the Hackfests. So one of the topics that we, of course, thought would be very, very appropriate given our release 5 activities and focus on 5G is to have a 5G day. So we had our first ever 5G day in the context of the Hackfest. So it was an afternoon session in which you can see on the left-hand side here is the scope of projects that were represented in the room during the Hackfest. And it was really amazing the way the community worked together, both in preparation for the agenda and also then afterwards. I feel like the projects themselves were very collaborative in terms of their approach to working with one another, but as a result of having this opportunity to present their projects comprehensively in front of their peers and also in front of the entire OSM ecosystem, we were able to drive a number of POC submissions, new research collaborations, and many more demos were actually created as a result. And it really confirmed the viability of these symposiums for us. So we are really excited about the continuation of the process to have a symposium inside the context of a Hackfest. So we've talked a lot about this upcoming Hackfest, so we'd love to see you there, or we'd love to have you send one of your colleagues or one of your, partners within your group to attend the Hackfest, to actually work with us on the technology. And if for some reason you can't make the whole week, if you could actually just come for the VNF day, it'll be in the afternoon on May 16th from 1 to 6. And then we're actually going to have a social event. And once again, the focus of this is VNFs. And so most of our presenters are going to be from VNF partners that are either currently OSM members or considering becoming OSM members. We'll also have our presenters from our OSM leadership community presenting. And it's really a great opportunity to collaborate with your peer groups and network with other organizations that are all working on solving the same types of problems for the ecosystem. And then, of course, the social event will be nice, and it is all free to join us. So please register online, and we can provide you those links, but they are on the OSM website. Okay, so we talked a lot about driving awareness, we talked a lot about driving understanding, and event participation is absolutely one of the best ways to do that. It's really great to be here with you all in person, getting to see your faces, getting to know you, and it is OSM's, the community belief that we will need to continue to drive event participation. What we are doing, is to expand the diversity of events that we attend. Of course, continuing our support for Layer 1, 2, 3 events as we are today, and we will continue in the future. And we also are very encouraging of our community to actually invite us and include us in their events and other industry events that they participate in. So our marketing organization is really here to help serve and promote solutions, capabilities, and research projects at a wide array of industry events, and we look forward to continuing on that path. So one of the things that I think you can tell I'm pretty proud of is I showed you a lot of Twitter snapshots, and once again, I'm going to have a shout out to Nicolette Oki, who's really helped in terms of driving participation and awareness through social media. I think we've seen a huge uptick in our social media engagement with our immediate partner community and beyond. And when we've gone to these events, the Mobile World Congress, the Hackfest that we had, the 5G Day, I think that actually our community has really enjoyed the opportunity to put a spotlight on the great work that they're doing. It's been my pleasure and privilege to work side by side by so many smart individuals. And once again, if it's not well understood or it's not well known, it can be frustrating. And I think we are changing the world slowly here, one step at a time, and we really need to continue to promote that. And one of the amazing accomplishments through social media has been the fact that we've actually been able to drive over our nearly 150,000 impressions in the last 90 days. So for any of you who are marketing junkies, this is a really significant milestone for us. And I actually think that this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. I think we're getting the word out. I think people are understanding that the real work's being done, that the projects are actually surfacing with OSM contributions being included. And we're going to continue to mine our own ecosystem and continue to recruit people into the ecosystem to promote the work that's being done so that we can all accelerate this transformation in the networks in the telco industry. So I hope that you've seen we've had a lot of fun along the way. We've been very enthusiastic with the events that we've participated in. We're trying to drive a lot of social media visibility to all the projects, and we'd love to have you join us on this journey. I think there's still more work to do, but if we continue to recruit new partners and new participants into the organization, we're going to get there a whole lot faster. So I think Francisco Javier already talked about the fact that we're really trying to make it easy for our, potential partners to join us. So if you're an ETSI member, it's simply signing a OSM agreement. If you're not an ETSI member, you can still join us as a participant. And then if you're a developer or user, you can join us as an individual contributor. So we're really not providing many barriers to joining us. And so I'm hoping that, come up to any one of us leadership of OSM tonight and after this workshop and talk to us about joining if you haven't already considered doing so. And these links will all be active, so you'll be able to find resources on how to join us, more information on some of the demos that I talked about, more information about some of the events and workshops that we've had in the past and those that are coming in the future. So once again, hopefully you'll reach out, investigate more, and then come and join us. And thank you very much for being here today. Thank you.